Okay, so this one is titled dated Wednesday afternoon. Dear Mom and Pop, last night I returned from Vienna. It was very enjoyable. It was an important part of my education, what I can remember of it. Saturday was tedious. We traveled all day by buses, arriving in Wien at 6 o'clock. The hotel was quite comfortable. The baths cost 40 cents, and the few meals we had were without drinks. Cokes or beer were purchased extra. The evening I passed in a cellar featuring a group of Ivy League looking fellows who have made a number of records. The trumpeter was about 35, the drummer no more than 17, and the vocalist was Al Fats Edwards. He told me he was from New Orleans. He sang better than Fats Domino, though he could not play anything. With the group, he did numbers by such Viennese composers as Kern, Gershwin, Ellington, W.C. Handy. Since the cover was 25 cents, I returned the night following. Ferris Jones, whom I knew well in Arlington, plays the trumpet. I remember he and Bateman had jam sessions in the latter's living room. Anyhow, he talked his way onto the stage and shortly replaced the trumpet player, who reverted to the guitar. Ferris blew for some minutes and everyone danced. There must have been 200 to 300 persons in the place at the time, and they liked it. Sunday we did some sightseeing, saw the Habsburg summer cottage, 400 rooms, and I liked it so much I delayed the tour. We told the guide that Mr. Hohenstein, government teacher, was lost, so they searched for 20 minutes till it was learned that he was not even with us. One girl was stroking a hideous gilt picture frame and then put her hand in her pocket. She was shortly shaken down by an angry guard who was certain that she had broken off a souvenir. Sunday night I went to the opera, which I did not like very much. It was by Strauss, I think. Afterwards I returned to the aforesaid jazz club with Ferris and Killian and several others. We also visited a Spanish riding school Sunday to see a horsemanship exhibition. It was very impressive. Monday I went shopping with a West Virginia girl along Wien's Bond Street, Maria Hilferstrasse, and then visited two churches not on the tour. One, St. Stephen's, was massively Gothic, comparing quite favorably with Canterbury and Salisbury. And in the heart of the business district we found an ancient Baroque church, somewhat smaller but nevertheless beautiful. I am too provincial. I still find it amazing to discover such centuried edifices in the midst of a 20th century stores and streets. The massed tradition about us was overwhelming. It is incredibly romantic to visit a Viennese restaurant for a snack and sip Coca-Cola, while the strains of Let's Rock float out of the Made in USA jukebox. The American tourist is interesting to observe in his natural habitat. For instance, at Salzburg, two girls were photographing the group in front of the hotel, some of whom were snapping a bunch of kids posed before their buses, some of whom were snapping each other. Somehow 500 feet of cliff and the brooding castle perched atop it escaped their notice. Monday I bought myself a nightclub tour with about 60 others. It was arranged by Dr. Whelan, psych teacher, who should see a psychiatrist. He and the government teacher enjoyed themselves, period. So did we all, since the above-mentioned girl abstained at most of the places. Hans-led tours got us free drinks in each restaurant. So all the more for me. Vienna's nightlife is rather Americanized, though we did get some live Viennese music. Drunken Dr. Whelan crossed the violinist's palm with silver, so he played at each of our tables briefly. A joyous time was had by all. For some reason I did not study too much in Vienna. Steve, asterisk, spent $27 this weekend on food and drink in Italy, where he visited the home of a mutual friend. I did better on 10 in Vienna. He was caught by MPs for something. He has not eaten since Verona last night, but I think he has quenched his thirst somewhere. We are both glad that there are no classes today. Excuse this typing and the general incoherence of this letter. I probably study too much. Love, Steve. He types Steve and then signs Steve. And then it appears he also has a friend named Steve. with the asterisk saying, "He staggered in at 10:30 this morning. Did you talk with Bob?" Also, the Webbs were in Munich while Killian was in Vienna.